Well, tough act to follow. I'm Robyn Askew, and I'm here to speak on behalf of the Chamber. I am a lawyer here in town and a real estate developer. I want to point out first that we, as the Chamber, appreciate the work of the task force. We know that it's been a long process. We know that you have had public meetings, and we recognize the fact that this is a passion for many, many people, and we appreciate that. We also desperately agree with the need to protect the ridgetops. If you look at the purple on our map up there, that's what needs to be protected. The plan that's been proposed by MPC goes too far, in our opinion, in trying to protect ridgetops. If you look at what laws are already on the books now, and I think each of you have a copy of a letter here from the Chamber, but I just want to point out, because this is important, and it goes to what the gentleman was just saying about the laws that are on the books. We have an urban growth plan in place now that already deals with slopes greater than 15%. It already includes incentives for cluster development. It includes recommendations for overlay zones. We have a general growth plan. That includes long-range planning for preservation of ridges, trees, and vegetation. It recommends creation of urban forestry, and it provides standards for the development of hillsides and streams. We have sector plans. Again, it includes protection for slopes over 15%. We have a city and county tree and preservation and planting plan. In addition, the state TDEC requires if you disturb any land greater than 1 acre, you have to get an NPDES permit and a stormwater permit. These are already in place. Our city code requires a grading permit for clearing. Knox County code requires a grading permit for sites greater than 1 acre. And it imposes height restrictions. We have subdivision regulations in place. We could stand here and go point by point on what was just presented, but that's not appropriate at this time, I don't think, mainly because of time, and I don't want to do that. But what I do want to say, and what we understand this plan does, is it will recommend for any zoning change that we go to a planned zone. And again, I think your job as commissioners is to look at these planned zones. If you have a planned zone, that will require that MPC review everything that comes before it. And if you're going to pick up an additional third, you're going to increase the cost, a third of the land in Knoxville to be reviewed. Where's the money going to come from? MPC's budget is already $4.3 million. And how is that going to be paid for? Are we going to have an increase in that budget, or are we going to increase fees? Because you cannot logically, despite what's been said, you cannot logically increase that much work on MPC without the money coming from somewhere. We have recommendations, and I'm sorry, I apologize, these pages aren't numbered, but we have recommendations we ask you to do the following, that you ask the existing city and county engineers, the traffic folks, and codes enforcement to look at this and make recommendations and determine elevations. And mainly, once those determinations are made, notify people. You cannot, it is just unconscionable to me personally, and at the chamber level, we believe you have to notify people that their property is about to be impacted. Ask MPC to review height limitations on all existing Knox County zoning classifications. Consider increased enforcement. As we mentioned, you've already got all these laws on the books. A lot of the things that are causing people heartburn are simply because our existing codes aren't being enforced. And then finally, we would ask that you, in overall, vote this plan down and send it back to MPC for consideration of the things that we just listed. Finally, I would like to ask again, I think we saw a minute ago, but we have the Home Builders Association and the realtors here, and I said this in a meeting last week. We are the people who have to come before you and before MPC to deal with these regulations. And they're here because this impacts their jobs, and it impacts the economy of our city and our county. And we know what we're talking about. We have to use the system. And I would ask once again that those who are opposed to this plan in its present form to stand and just let you know that this is important. Thank you very much.
Do we have